turn the presentation over to our presenter, Finance Director Peter Gay Lake. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Gay Lake. I'm the Director of Finance and Administrative Services. And today I have with us the Budget and Grants Manager, Veronica Munoz. Again, welcome to the Ambassador Program in Government Finances and the Budget Process. So today we're going to briefly go over a high-level overview of government finances and the city's annual budget process. We'll then close with some helpful resources that can be used to learn more about the city's finances and the budget, and we'll close with a question and answer session. Since we only have 30 minutes today, I do ask that you save your questions until the end of the presentation to allow us to go through all the great information that we have to share with you today. All right. So as we go through the presentation, you'll often hear us talk about our fiscal year. So for private companies and for tax purposes, the fiscal year is normally January to December. But for municipalities, our fiscal year is actually from October 1st until September 30th. And that is set by state statute. And I say that because that's going to play into some of the timelines that you're going to see with the budget process coming up soon. So some of the major revenues that the city of Coconut Creek collects are charges for services, taxes, intergovernmental revenues, franchise fees, utility taxes, building permits, and other revenues. Now this slide shows the breakdown of the different revenue types in more detail, or put in another way, this is where the money comes from. So the state of Florida does not charge income taxes, so the majority of the taxes for the city comes from property taxes, utility taxes that you pay on your water, electric, or cable bills, and fuel taxes that you pay when you purchase gas for your vehicles. As you can see from this pie chart, property taxes are a primary revenue source for the city and accounts for approximately 26% of total revenues, and you can see that right there. The city also receives another 9% in intergovernmental revenues, and then we also receive another 41% in charges for services. Intergovernmental revenues include sales taxes, insured revenues, and fuel taxes that we get from the state of Florida. It also includes any federal, state, and local grants that we receive, and the city actively seeks to leverage grant dollars to help cover costs that the city incurs. For example, in this fiscal year 24, we anticipate receiving state and federal funding to help purchase a fire engine, develop Sunshine Drive Park, and to replace the playground equipment at the recreation complex. We also recently received notification that we'll be receiving over $900,000 to be used towards a body-worn camera program for police officers. And again, as shown as this chart, another large part of our revenue is from charges for services, which basically means it's a fee that we charge for direct specialized services that an individual receives. For example, emergency medical services transport, or a summer camp program, or for our water and wastewater charges. So essentially what that is the person receiving the services and the benefit is charged a fee for that service that they are receiving. So with that, I'll go into the major expenses for the city. So the major expenses includes police services, fire rescue services, parks and recreation programs, amenities and services, code enforcement, street construction and maintenance, water and wastewater services, and support services, which basically are all the internal departments, like the city manager's office, or city attorney's office, city clerk, information technology, human resources, and of course, the finance department. So from this chart, you can see that the safety of our residents continue to be a priority for the city of Coconut Creek. Our police and fire rescue services account for 17% and 8% respectively of the total budget of the city. To continue to enhance public safety, in fiscal year 2024 budget, it includes funding for a new detective, a community paramedic program, as well as a fire cadet program. The Utilities and Engineering Department is the next largest department, accounting for 13% of the total budget, and they're responsible for all your street maintenance and water and wastewater services. However, the majority of the costs for these expenses are recovered, as mentioned earlier, through direct user fees or charges for services. Capital programs account for another 9% of the total budget, which is right here. That includes infrastructure maintenance, which is critical to the success of the city. In order to maintain the current level of services now and into the future, the city must remain proactive and invest in its infrastructure. This includes all your roads, buildings, park facilities, and water and wastewater service lines. Contingency and reserves account for 22% of the total budget, and that is basically the resources set aside for unforeseen circumstances, such as natural disasters, emergency repairs, and so forth. So now let's talk about property taxes. So property taxes, or ad valorem taxes, basically is a tax that is calculated based on the value of your property. The state of Florida offers several exemptions in order to keep property taxes affordable. For example, the state offers a homestead exemption, which is a direct reduction in the assessed property values. The most important aspect of the homestead exemption is the Saver Home Clause, which basically was first implemented to ensure taxpayers are not taxed out of their homes. It offers a cap on how much the assessed value of a property can increase from year to year. And it is the lower of 3% or the cost of living increase in Florida. So in an environment where property values are increasing, the longer someone lives in their home, the more of a tax savings that they can actually accumulate. Coupled with portability, which basically means a homeowner can take that savings with them to a new home if they move in the state of Florida. A homeowner, they're now able to better manage their property tax bills. It is important to note that the city of Coconut Creek only accounts for approximately 31% of a homeowner's total property tax bill. Other taxing agencies make up the remaining 69%, and that includes Broward County, the school board, and the South Florida Water Management District, amongst others. So for example, if you have a home with a taxable value of about $244,000, the total tax bill is about $5,600, but the portion that's paid to the city of Coconut Creek is only $1,900. So I like to use this slide because it breaks down the city's portion of the property tax bill by month. So for an average home value of $244,000, the amount paid to the city of Coconut Creek, including the fire assessment, is about $155 a month. And you can also see of that $155, which is right here, you're paying $48 a month for police services. And for that $155 a month, our residents are receiving the value of public safety, including police and fire rescue services, parks and recreation facilities and services and amenities, code enforcement, and all the support services that I mentioned earlier. So I don't know about all of you, but that's a lot cheaper than what I pay for my cell phone bill or my cable bill for the family. So I think that's a great deal that we get from the city of Coconut Creek. So with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Veronica, our Budget and Grants Manager, who will be going over the budget process. She'll also provide some additional resources for you to obtain more information about the budget and the city finances. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Peter Gay. So I'm going to share a little bit about the budget process with you today. So what better way to start to kick off the budget process than to discuss the city's strategic plan, Vision 2030. In 2021, the City Commission accepted Vision 2030 as our 10-year strategic plan. That plan was built with extensive community input through in-person community and business meetings, a community advisory group, virtual meetings, 2 surveys, outreach and events such as Butterfly Festival and interviews with commissioners, staff, and leaders throughout the community. All of that feedback led to Vision 2030 and included a new vision statement, mission statement, and updated core values, which are all tightly woven into our budget process. Everything goes back to our vision statement of being an innovative, inclusive, and progressive community with a small town personal touch. Our mission, or what we do every day, of providing exceptional, responsive, and sustainable services for the Coconut Creek community, and our core values of service excellence, innovation, continuous improvement, ethics and integrity, and fiscal accountability, which are also woven into the budget process. Vision 2030 serves as a decision-making tool about the city's goals and activities over the next several years. In fiscal year 23, we took it a step further and we worked with staff to develop department-specific objectives that support the city's strategic goals. These objectives assist departments in prioritizing projects, programs, and services, and will serve as a foundation for the development of the annual budget. To achieve the city's vision, mission, and core values, the strategic plan will serve as the foundation for the development of the annual budget and focuses on continuous improvement of the 5 key areas of focus that are shown here. They are adaptable and progressive mobility, safety and quality of life, high performance government, smart growth, and sustainable environment. More information about Vision 2030 can be found on our website at coconutcreek.net/Vision 2030. So as you can see here, our budget process is about an 11-month process, beginning in December, with the finance department updating all of the forms, templates, and calendars, and coordinating training for department personnel, and ending in early November, when the adopted budget document is submitted to the Government Financial Officers Association for the Distinguished Budget Award, which the city has been the recipient of for the past 23 years. February is budget kickoff, which is the official start of the budget season. In March, the city hosts a budget strategic planning workshop to discuss priorities that could potentially affect the budget and with the city commission. During the month of March, all departments work within the parameters set by the finance department to submit their budget requests and their proposed capital improvement projects for the upcoming year. The annual budget is developed, ensuring that it aligns with the city's strategic goals, and the departments develop their individual budgets while ensuring that they consider new methods or ideas to accomplish their goals, that they're leveraging their departmental expertise, and that they continue to provide excellent service while ensuring quality improvement and fiscal accountability. Any new requests require detailed justifications, and the departments rank all of these new requests in priority order. The city manager, in conjunction with the finance department and the operating departments, then meet to review all of the budget requests in more detail. The finance department then determines funding for all of the budget requests and make final recommendations to the city manager based on available funding and competing priorities. In April, the city also hosts a town hall budget meeting to gain input from you, all of our residents here in Coconut Creek. The proposed budget is then finalized and printed in July and submitted to the city commission for review and consideration. In August, the city administration holds a budget workshop with the city commission to review all budget requests and make their recommendations. Budget hearings are then held in September, approving the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The current slide contains highlights from the fiscal year 2024 budget. And as you can see, total revenues and available balances amounted to a little over $189 million. The ad valorem tax rate was set at 6.4463 mils per $1,000 of taxable property value. That means that for every $1,000 of taxable value, taxpayers pay $6.4463 to the city to cover all of its costs to provide services. For a home with an average taxable value of $244,000, that translates to about $131 per month. The fire assessment was set at $283.14 per year for single-family homes. The fire assessment fees you see on your annual tax bill partially recover the cost of providing fire protection services in the city. Single-family, multifamily, and mobile home dwellers pay a set fee each year, and commercial businesses pay based on the square footage of their building. The solid waste assessment for single-family residents was set at $342.89 per year and covers the cost of collecting and disposing solid waste for single-family residents. On the expenditure side, expenses and balances amounted to $189.3 million, thus representing a balanced budget where revenues and balances equal expenses and balances. The city has over 509 employees spread across different departments. Our police department is the largest department, housing a little over 160 full-time equivalent employees and an annual operating budget of $32.5 million. As discussed earlier, major expenses include police and fire rescue services and streets and wastewater services. Some of the initiatives and programs added over the last 2 to 3 years to support our Vision 2030 include the Small Business Education and Outreach Program, Realtor Showcase and Tour, Autism Friendly Designation, Fluffy Foodies Food Truck Fridays at 2 locations, Holiday Cultures of Winter, Love and Music at Tradewinds Park, the Never Forget Cultural Series, Recycling Drop-Off Centers, Culture and Arts Wall at the Recreation Complex, and the creation of our own fire rescue department, as well as transition of dispatch services to the city of Coral Springs. It is the city's responsibility to manage funding in a prudent manner. This includes evaluating competing needs for limited resources. We could easily spend our entire budget of the police, Parks and Rec, or Information Technology Department. It is the Finance and Administrative Services Department's responsibility to help balance all of these competing needs and to work with its residents, city commission, and city manager on identifying and funding the various programs and services that are offered by the city. As mentioned earlier, as part of the annual budget process, we host a budget strategic planning session with the city commission to discuss priorities for the upcoming fiscal year. This session will be held right here in this room starting at 6 p.m. tonight, and we encourage all of you to stay and observe the city commission in action, working on behalf of our residents to ensure that Coconut Creek remains an innovative, inclusive, and progressive community with a small town personal touch. Also, as part of the annual budget process, we'd like to hear from you, our residents, and we'll be hosting a budget town hall meeting on April 17th at 6 p.m. We encourage all of you to attend and invite your neighbors as well. They'll be right here in this room, and we would love to always hear what programs you'd like to add, remove, or improve upon in the upcoming year. The budget town hall meeting is a great opportunity for you to come out and provide input on how Coconut Creek can achieve its vision of being an innovative, inclusive, and progressive community with a small town personal touch. Additionally, there are budget input forms at the back of the room for you to complete and turn into staff. We will have someone collect them at the end of the session, or you can email them or drop them off to myself or Peter Gay. We'll provide our contact information at the end of the presentation. So now we'll go over some of the resources that we provide our residents. So the 3 major publications produced by the city that focuses on government finances and the budget. First, we have our annual operating budget and 5-year capital improvement plan. We also have the annual comprehensive financial report and the popular annual financial report. The city has received awards for all 3 publications from the Government Finance Officers Association, which is a professional association of state and local governments that recognizes governments for adhering to various policies and standards within the public sector. We have received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for the past 23 consecutive years. We have received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting Program for the past 40 consecutive years. And we have received the Annual Outstanding Achievement in Popular Annual Report for the past 16 consecutive years. All 3 publications, as well as other interesting information about the city of Coconut Creek, can be found on the city's website at coconutcreek.net. For more information about the city, you can always visit us on our website at coconutcreek.net or through any one of our social media accounts. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay. So with that, our contact information is added here, but we can also provide it for you at the end of the session. Otherwise, thank you for your time this evening.